Remember your teachers, them now. Remember your nurses, them now. Remember your doctors, them now. My Highland don't sell out. No, 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 no. My Highland don't sell out. Please don't sell out.
Welcome. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. This is Roots 6.1 FM. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the strength and vigor of my body. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity. This morning, I was supposed to have the Minister of Education, Miss Favor Williams, on to speak about back to school. The good lady promised me faithful that she'll be coming on.
She's sweet.
The studio have been trying to get a hold of her and no answer from her circular phone. But this morning I have with me a good friend of mine who do not, when it comes on to throwing the punches towards injustice in our country, none other than Wilfred Rattigan, attorney at law and former FBI agent. I also see Mr. James on. Who is Mr. James? Mr. James, welcome to the Make We Talk program. I think Mr. James is a part of the Police Federation, Mr. Rattigan?
Yes, he's the chairman of the...
I do apologize to you, sir. Mr. Chairman of the JCF. Welcome to Make We Talk, sir. Unmute your mic for me, sir. Unmute your mic for me, Mr. Chairman.
Good morning to you, sir, and your listeners. Good morning, Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, good morning, my brother.
As he comes on, I was gonna let her play something. I hope the listeners at Roots FM and all over Jamaica can hear what I'm gonna play. Hold on a minute for me, please. Let me stop this and then go into this. This. Yes. There is something I need to play, Mr. Rattigan. You need to listen to, sir.
Okay.
Then I can ask you the questions pertaining to. Are you hearing it?
No.
Hold on for me. Oh. We do apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. We're trying to get this thing up and going that Mr. Rattigan can hear.
Well, today we intended to make a bail application. Unfortunately, the prosecution did
Are you hearing me now, sir?
Several documents on us, despite our request 2 weeks ago. It is quite disappointing. We are taken by surprise. This is something that I have never experienced in all my years of practice. They have chosen not to disclose certain documents. They have also indicated their reasons. But the court, in its own assessment of the matter, has indicated that it was not satisfied with those reasons. And so we are indeed, I would say, ambushed. And so until the next date.
Was there a request for the matter to be transferred to the Home Service Court?
The Crown has indicated that they intend to have the matter transferred on the 16th of September.
Okay.
But in keeping with our obligations to our client, we had to do what we had to do, which is to wait on the proper documentation before making an application.
Can you say how the case has been hampered?
Well, most certainly we do not have a full view of the matter. And so it would have been irresponsible of us to proceed.
That was the attorney at law for murder accused Mr. Noel Maitland.
To make a bail application. Unfortunately, the prosecution did not disclose.
Mr. Rattigan.
Yes, sir.
In this part of the trial. It hasn't even started good as yet. They're having problem in getting paperwork from the prosecutions, and the law is saying that it took the JCF 5 times to go back and get a blood sample from something inside the gentleman's house. Now, you was a former FBI agent, sir. Tell me, when the FBI is investigating murder cases like these, how they go about doing it, sir?
Well, good morning again to you, your listeners, and my panelists, my brother, Mr. James. Generally speaking, the FBI, they don't investigate murders because they're considered local crimes, and they're involved with investigating federal crimes. Now, there are instances where they will assist, and there are also instances where they'll actually conduct the investigation, but that's for another day. Whenever the FBI is conducting an investigation of a murder, for example, the forensics team, they go in, and what they try to do is make it a comprehensive and detailed exercise. So hardly, and I've never been involved in a case where a forensic examination of an apartment, for example, was done more than once. They go in, they cordon off the area, they secure it, they go in and they do whatever they have to do. They take the specialists in, and they make sure that the crime scene is not contaminated, and they use whatever technology they have to use to acquire whatever evidence they're seeking, or whatever evidence presents itself to them. But I've never heard of a situation where you go back 4 times to collect a piece of evidence, and I'm sure the defense is going to have a field day with that. So to answer your question, this is highly unusual, and as the attorney said, this is something that she's never seen. I've never seen it.
The chairman of the Police Federation. Unmute your mic for me, Mr. James. I'm going to put you on the spot. I know maybe you didn't come to speak about that of such. Are you hearing me clearly?
I'm hearing you very clearly.
Okay, because I'm hearing some muffled thing in the background as I'm asking.
I'm hearing you very clearly.
Okay. How does the JCF, why did it take the JCF 3 to 4 times? You have an idea to go back to the apartment to get some sample of blood? That's what the law is saying.
Very frankly, I don't know anything about the investigation. I cannot comment on the investigation, nor what the investigators involved have done. So I've not been privy to all that transpires with the investigation.
Okay.
The Federation needs to meddle with investigation whilst investigations are taking place, one way or the other.
Okay. Mr. Rattigan, based on what the lawyer is saying, sir, where the prosecution and the defense, the prosecution not handing over certain evidence or certain paperwork to them, sir, is it that they're trying to gather all the evidence, or is it that they're trying to secure the witnesses before they can hand over certain things like that, sir?
It could be a number of reasons. The important thing to note, though, is that, like the defense attorney said, they were ambushed. The team was ambushed because she expected that for the bail hearing, all of the proper documentation would have been submitted, and now they're being told that their things are in a continuing stage, and they've only received a partial, to the best of my understanding, a partial investigative report. And so it's difficult for them to mount a bail hearing without having access to all of the information. At least that's my understanding of what's taking place in Jamaica.
Okay. So do you think, the question I want to ask, what is your views on, on all of the case, sir? What are your views on it? Do you think the family of Donaldson will get justice in this case, sir? Let me just plain and say it out to you.
Unlike my good brother, Mr. James there, I can speak very, very freely without fear or without retaliation, fear of retaliation, friendship or favor. I mean, you understand his position. And so some of the answers that you won't be able to get some answers from, because honestly, like he said, he doesn't really know what's going on with the investigators. And so he doesn't want to speculate. And that's his prerogative. And that's a good posture. But I can speak freely. And what I think is going on here is that the prosecution is going to have some problems. And if you remember, Mr. Tavares, I told you a while back that whatever mistakes are going to be made in this case, they've been made already. And that had to do with the collection of evidence, the videotapes, witness statements, digital evidence, physical evidence, the processing of the crime scene, the vehicle, all of these things that have or should have been done already. Whatever mistakes are going to be made, they've been made already. And so far, we're hearing about one set of mistakes, and that is having the forensics team or the JCF members, whether it's a combination of forensics and detectives, but they went back to the apartment.
Hold on for me, Mr. Rattigan. The student is saying that Mr. James, your connection is bad, Mr. James. We're having some muffled going on. Are you still here in the muffled studio? Okay, go ahead from Mr. Rattigan. Sorry to put in. Go ahead, sir.
Right. So they're going to have to explain why is it that they went 4 times before they found blood evidence of well, we don't know if she's deceased. We're just assuming right now because she's been missing for I think more than a month or thereabouts. So they're gonna have problems, and the problems they're gonna have is basically procedural. You know, who did what, when, where, why, how. That's where they're going to have problems. And we're beginning to see evidence of that already.
Continue talking, Mr. Rattigan. Just continue talking. There's something I have to deal with here. Continue talking, please.
Right. The one of the questions that came to mind was, why wasn't the accused offered bail? And you know, he's remanded. And you know, one of the first things that come up during these types of situation is a bail hearing once a person has been arrested. And so the accused is still in jail. I think there's another hearing coming up, and of course it's going to be a bail hearing to see whether or not he should be released. We don't know if bail will be granted, but we do know that there are certain factors that the court will listen to. You know, because the purpose of bail is to ensure that the person will show up for trial. That's the first thing. The second thing is to make sure that the person is not going to intimidate witnesses, or that the person is not going to interfere with the investigation or destroy potential evidence, and so on and so forth. And then the judge has a whole host of considerations under the Bail Act of 2010 to determine whether or not the person should be granted bail. So it's going to be interesting. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Interesting. Go ahead.
It's going to be interesting, you know, the next for the next hearing to see what the posture will be of the prosecution, if they're going to ask for more time, which I doubt the judge will probably grant this time around because they've been forewarned. And you have to take that in context along with the proposed amendments to the Bail Act, which won't affect this case, but will affect future cases. I'm just segueing into something with the Minister Malahoo Fort, where she's proposing that if you're charged with a gun crime or murder, then you shouldn't be allowed bail, which is a violation of the Constitution and other things as well.
Okay. We're gonna switch gear for a little bit, but before I switch gear, Mr. Rattigan, you was an attorney at law, sir. You were advising the family long time to get a lawyer because we all know, I mean, I say it, I mean, I care who want vex this morning. We all know some hanky-panky will go on, you know. But I'm saying to the powers may be in this country, be careful what you're doing. Because Donaldson family, they come from below crossroad. It's not the people of the affluence of society in Jamaica who can afford the Tavares Finsons and the Bert Samuels and the this and the that and the devils know what. We're depending on the DPP. Let me say this. I see the person from the police looking at me a different way. But let me say this morning. For far too long, too much injustice goes on in this country. And everybody said, Jeffrey, you get too emotional sometimes when you're talking about, yeah, I get emotional because I'm poor and pauperizing too. But because I don't hear the last name Tavares. I know what it's like to go to my bed and have no dirty girlfriend name. But let me say this morning. If the case between Donaldson and the gentleman, we can't prove anything, you know. But based on the whole aspect of the case from the beginning, you can realize that something was fundamentally wrong. I'm saying to the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, who all him do is drive around and every time I can hear we, we. Give them way. Him and the Commissioner of Police, if you go away. The Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice must go sit down. Him and the Commissioner of Police. The crime situation in Jamaica out of work. Mr. Rattigan, if the family don't have a lawyer, sir, to represent them in court, what you think will be the outcome of this case? Because you know, drag on till all in the year 90, in the year 2050, still like one, you know.
Well, the crime is considered a crime against the state, murder. And so the family will be represented by the DPP. But they can have a private lawyer as a spokesperson, as a consultant, to ensure that whatever the DPP is doing, it's doing it properly. Now, they can't dictate to the DPP how the case should be tried, but at the very least, they can act as a level of oversight to make sure that all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. Now, do they need a lawyer? I suggested to them a long time ago that they should retain a lawyer. And the reason being that there were too many family members speaking, and they weren't speaking in unison, and they were speaking to various media outlets, and various spins were attributed to the things that they said. As you know, I think the mom was interviewed, and aunt was interviewed, and uncle, I think brothers. When you start having so many people involved, you need to have a focal point, one person who can speak for the family. You know, you have like almost like a mediator, somebody who is in touch with the authorities and in touch with the family, so that when you speak, it's clear, it's loud, and it's united, one voice. I also suggested to them that they should have sought the assistance of a group of investigators early on. And that was to ensure that whatever was being done by the JCF, that you have people who are similarly situated like the JCF, maybe with a bit more experience, to kind of like, again, just add a certain level of oversight. And when I say oversight, I don't mean to supervise them, because they wouldn't be supervised. The JCF, they have their own internal structure of supervision.
Okay,
but just to make sure that things are collected according to protocols, and that the dictates are followed. Because if I guarantee you, if my team was there, this business about going 4 times to process the last known place where she was, it wouldn't have happened 4 times. My understanding is that it's an apartment. It's not a house, and it's not even like a 3-bedroom apartment. I think it might have been a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom apartment. That shouldn't take you 4 times to go back and process it. Because you should only do it once, and you do it right. So for reasons best known to the family, they did not retain the services of an attorney, and they did not retain the services of investigators. In fact, I even offered to do it for free with my group. I told them that we wouldn't be charging for the service. And at this point, it doesn't make any sense for us to get involved, because the train has left the station.
Yes.
So it is what it is.
We're going to switch gear for a little bit. Mr. James, Mr. Chairman, welcome back to Make We Talk, sir. I want you to tell me something, sir. How is the working condition within the JCF of the poor police officers who don't have no vests to go out on the road sometimes and have to buy their own uniform? Yet the Minister of National Security and Injustice get too much billions of dollars for the JCF. How is the working condition of the JCF, sir? And the ability to investigate?
I know that the force is void of resources, and I continue to cry out atop the voice to say that we are in dire need of resources, notwithstanding that there has been some injection of capital. It is insufficient, given the fact that the constabulary force over the years have been neglected. And at this juncture, it requires a significant investment for a holistic approach to be taken, so that we can actually, in the performance of our duty, serve the citizenry of this country more effectively than we are doing now, because I believe that we are doing wonderful at this time, but we can be exceptional if it is that all the representatives on both political divides find the will to ensure that the capital is injected, and that the Minister of Finance, acting in accordance with the same Public Debt Management Act that he is seeking to do this compensation review, to seek to reduce public expenditure in terms of compensation to a 9% of GDP. It is the same Public Debt Management Act, Section 9 and Subsection 10, Subsection F, that empowers the minister to act within the interest of national security, to provide resources for the constabulary force. And it is important at this juncture for them to do that, because you will not materialize a 4 in 5%.
So tell me something, Mr. James. Oh Lord, whatever you touch there, while I'm hearing a feedback in my thing here. Whatever you touch, I'm hearing a feedback there. I can hardly hear you now. So tell me something. You all are having problems with getting, I'd lose my train of thought, in getting ballistic vests and all those things, though?
We are woefully short on that.
No, I'm not hearing you now. You're gone down. You're gone all the way down. Look at the know why you talk.
We are woefully. Well, you hearing me now?
Loud and clear. Talk, make them hear you.
Yeah, man. We are woefully short on uniform. We are woefully short on boots. We are woefully short on ballistic vests and ballistic helmets, among other things too, that the constabulary force is in dire need of. Because we, as it is right now, and I use the opportunity to implore upon both sides of the political divide to find the will to, in the interest of the people of Jamaica, to come together and to seek to best resolve the issue of crime, criminality, and corruption in this country once and for all. We are in dire need of that level of participation and that partnership that is woefully lacking.
So hold on, you know, what about your pay restructuring? Anything about that yet? Because them they get millions of dollars in the parliament, you know. Because them drive Prado and Range Rover every time you see the Minister of National Security and Justice. Is either you want Prado, or you want Hardy, or you want Range. The we. Talk to me.
The fact of the matter is that we are still championing the cause in this compensation review. We have found inadequacies, and we believe that there are areas that will chip the current legal protection that we have now enjoyed on its face, and it requires us to be very strident and to be forthright to get it right at first instance. And this is one time that we don't believe that we should compromise the interests of the members, and more so the people of Jamaica resources, that we believe that they will be best suited remunerating the police officers so that they can be out there safeguarding the citizen while their well-being has been safeguarded. That is one instance that the Police Federation, which I now lead, will continue to safeguard in the interest of the people of Jamaica.
Can you tell me something, Mr. Chairman of the JCF Federation? How much does a police officer get? A normal police officer get to go home with a month time?
The constable at the lowest level, entry level, gets a housing as well as basic pay. The housing is a reimbursable item, and it is less than $120,000
a month. After them take out the ticks out of here, too much they go home with?
The officer may go home with, truth be told, in many instances, far less than $78,000 after tax.
I beg your pardon?
When
hold on there, Mr. James, hold on a minute. We're gonna take a quick commercial break here and make we talk on Roots 96.1 FM. We're listening and watching from around the world and the Eastern Caribbean. We're speaking to Wilfred Rattigan, former FBI agent and chairman of the Jamaica Constabulary Force Federation. We'll be right back. Owen.
My heart don't salute. My Highland don't salute. Please don't salute. My Highland don't salute.
Hi, I'm Sharon.
Hi, I'm Marcia.
I'm Adrian. Join us this and every Wednesday morning for Extraordinary Abilities on Roots 96.1 FM. Join us for news, views, and interviews with extraordinary people. Extraordinary Abilities every Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. on your extraordinary radio station, Roots 96.1 FM. It's gonna be fun, informative, and educational, but most of all, it will be extraordinary.
At MOJ Ministry of Justice, come access quality service to keep order within the nation. We put together good legislation, legal aid to your pocket. A little is child diversion for you to need expertise. Victim service will help you cope with grief. Restorative justice, build back the peace. No matter where you come from, how we say justice for all Jamaicans. MOJ, Ministry of Justice. Come, access quality service.
MOJ, taking justice to the people of Jamaica.
Become the hero on the scene by taking the COVID vaccine. Get vaccinated as soon as you get all the facts. Don't listen to the rumors. This vaccine might just make it possible for teachers to sit face to face with schoolers. This vaccine make it safer for everybody, from the young to the elderly. Don't you want to go back to living normally when things were more orderly? And if you want to live a long good life, then we all have to do what's right. So let's get vaccinated along with the heroes on the front line. A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
My Highland Town salute.
Welcome back to Make We Talk here on Roots 96.1 FM, the voice of the inner city. Please like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Share it now. Discussion now continue after 1 o'clock. Because the chairman for the federation now go nowhere. We not talk up the things today. Because listen to me. Subscribe to Roots FM YouTube channel too. The government of Jamaica, of the Ministry of National Security and Justice, they get the tune of millions of US dollars in grants from the United States, in the tune of billions, nearly $2 billion to fight crime in Jamaica. And you're telling me that the JCF that we Jamaicans love because they're putting their life on the line to secure us and to secure the people of the Vumvava and the Vumvavi and the people in Parliament, and then I pay them good? Huh? The Jamaica Police Federation chairman is on with me this morning. Thank you, Mr. Brown, for correct me, sir. You are telling me that they're short of ballistic vests, they're short of uniform, and every almighty God minute, the Minister of National Security can change for him jacket and tie. What's some of the jacket then him again, Wilfred Rattigan? What they wear? Eh?
You have to ask them, Jeffrey.
And you're telling me that the police force that is sworn to protect us and protect them is underpaid? Mr. Rattigan, the people of the diaspora must get petition to the Congress of the United States and the Senate to cut funding to the Jamaica Constabulary Force or to the Ministry of National Security.
I think what they have to do, Mr. Tavares, I think they have to have a proper accounting. I don't think they should cut the funding because, as you hear from the chairman, they're in dire need of a whole bunch of things necessary for them to efficiently and effectively do their job. The JCF is under tremendous strife and pain right now. If you start with the leadership is basically non-existent, and so you don't have any policy, you don't have any goals and objectives or anything cascading down to Mr. James's constituency, the men and women that he proudly represent. It's a tough sell. What can the diaspora do? The diaspora can certainly reach out to the State Department and make overtures as far as accounting is concerned, and also do it through the U.S. Embassy, USAID, ILEA, and other U.S.
Mr. Rattigan, it is a pity that our good friend Herbert Nelson Jr., who's the chairman for the Regional Caribbean Committee on Crime, is not on with us. He had other engagement. But I fail to understand, Mr. Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation.
Hold on a second, Jeffrey. I must say this, right? Let me just
Go ahead.
interrupt you for a second. The chairman mentioned several areas in which the government has failed to provide resources. One area that he didn't mention, and I will mention it now because it came from the mouth of the police commissioner, this present police commissioner. He was on Cliff Hughes Nationwide a few months ago. And he said that they don't even have enough government-issued weapons for the members. He admitted that some members, they have to turn in their weapons when they shift over and go home defenseless, unprotected. And a lot of these men, they're going back to inner city communities where they're faced with violence. So, I mean, if you have, according to Mr. Chang, they had 1.2 billion US dollars to spend. This he said last year, February, you know, and he said he's been spending it since 2016. And at the very least, if you cannot provide, you know, you cannot provide your members with the tools necessary to protect themselves and the public, then what are we doing? What are we doing? Where's the accountability?
Hold on for me, Mr. Rattigan and Mr. Chairman. I think I have the Minister of Education in line with us. Minister Williams? Minister Williams? Well, are you hearing me, Minister? I see you on with your iPhone, Minister Fable Williams. Minister of Education. Well, I don't know if the minister hearing me or what, because I'm saying hello to her and she's not answering. Minister Williams?
Hello?
Yes, Minister Williams, how are you doing? Good afternoon to you, ma'am.
I'm hearing you now.
Are you hearing me, Minister? Are you going in and out?
I'm hearing you now.
Okay.
I'm hearing you now.
Welcome to Make a Talk, Minister.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me on. Good morning to your listeners.
Yes, Minister. I have to cut the other program to come to you. The question I want to ask you this morning, Minister. What is the latest on the furniture repairs in the schools at the moment for reopening of school?
Well, so, you know, furniture acquisition, meaning the purchase of furniture, the repair of furniture is ongoing. We're delighted that this year we're able to reactivate our schools that have been creating furniture for the system. You know, during COVID, this went into abeyance because our children were at home. And so that program is activated. We have 8 of our schools who've come on board to help us to create desks and chairs for schools. They've begun to deliver already to the schools, and this will be ongoing so that come next school year, not this one upcoming, but 23-24 school year, we won't be talking about desks and chairs at the beginning of school because we would have satisfied that demand that is out there. So we will continue to work with our schools. It's turned out to be a local initiative, a local venture. We don't have to buy our school furniture from overseas. We are empowering our schools, 8 of them that have come on board, teaching their students the skills for making these types of furniture for the Jamaican environment. And we're going to encourage that as we go along.
Minister Williams, with the migration of teachers from our education system in Jamaica, how prepared are we come September with teachers filling the gap of, let's say, mathematics or religious education or language, art, or so forth?
All right, so there are a couple of things happening in the environment. With right now where we are, there are some 1,800 teachers who would have left to go on their long leave. This is you know, happens in the school year every year. Teachers are given either 4 months or 8 months of leave. You have that situation, and or principals or boards having to find replacement for those teachers. And then you have teachers who migrate. This is not new to the sector. It's not new to Jamaica. As you know, we have persons are free to come and go as they wish, as they make their personal decision. We have published a number of different measures, a number of different strategies that our principals and the boards can use to fill those replacements. As you know, this year, coming out of our
Minister Williams? Minister Williams?
Teacher colleges, we have some 9 with specialization in areas of accounting, chemistry, computer science. Yes.
No, I was losing you a while
Hello?
ago, and that is why I was saying Minister Williams. Continue, man.
Okay. Computer science, they come with geography major, they come with mathematics, double major, maths with business education, maths major with computer science, maths major with science. We have modern language graduates, physical education graduates, and so on. So we have 964 persons who would have graduated our teachers' colleges and would be available to work in the system. I know many of them would have been approached already, and many of them would probably have accepted positions in different schools already across the system.
Yes, Minister Williams, in the interest of time. So tell me something now, Minister. You get all of those individuals from the Teachers College and so forth. Are they going to be having problems getting their salary like some teachers at a certain high school in 2000? Even when Christmas come, Minister, they didn't get any salary. They called my program, and I was the one who called Hills and Valleys for them to get their salary. The regions.
In what year?
Hold on for me, Minister.
In what year?
In 2000, Minister. Or 2002, I should say. In 2002, sorry, in 2002. 2020, rather, sorry. 2020. The teacher called me that they didn't have received their salary. All when Christmas come, they didn't have their salary, they didn't have their Christmas dinner, Minister. And I was the one who, with this program and Roots FM is owned by Mustard Seed, call around and end up getting their salary. The regions that is in charge of region this and region that, they need some hard and pull up, Minister. Is it that the teachers that you're getting now, are they guaranteed to get their salary, Minister?
Yes, sir. The system that we have at the ministry is one that ensures on a monthly basis that our teachers get paid. There are temporary teachers in the system. There are different types of teachers in the system, and from time to time, you may have issues. A teacher or 2 or 3 or 4 may have issues not receiving their salary and so on. But those, once we hear about them, we do the research and ensure that the situation is rectified. We don't want our teachers to.
You don't want our teachers to do what, Minister? Okay, you're gone again, Minister. Minister Williams, you're gone.
To be out there without us, that is not our thinking. We're just having a bad connection, I believe.
Okay, could you just repeat what you were saying a while ago, Minister, please?
Right. So I say that our teachers get paid, right? But there are situations that do happen, especially among those teachers who are in the system on a part-time basis. Sometimes we have issues there in terms of getting the information onto the system in a timely manner and ensuring that they are paid accordingly.
So that means, Minister Williams, hold on a minute for me, Minister Williams. That means that people within the regions not doing their job and the ministry not doing their job, Minister. Because it can't be.
We are.
It cannot be, Minister. that teachers are getting up early in the morning to go to school, stand up on their feet to teach students. At the end of the month, they're having problem getting the salary, minister. And people within the Ministry of Education are probably getting their salary, minister. It can't be, minister.
Okay, so what I'm trying to explain to you is that 99.9% of our teachers are paid on time every month, like clockwork. There are situations that come to our attention from time to time about a problem a teacher might be having, getting paid for work that might have been done on a part-time basis or so.
It look like did you smell and line on me talking to the minister this morning?
Those situations are verified and made. It is not our intention.
It's not your intention. Go ahead, minister.
To deny any work. It is not our intention to have our teachers have a hassle when it comes on to making payment or
so minister, before you go, one quick question before I let you go, minister. Jeffrey, behave yourself this morning. Don't ask the minister the question there. Minister Williams, don't you believe that if the Ministry of Education was paying our teachers properly, they wouldn't be leaving the education institution to go overseas, minister?
The issue of teacher salary is the purview of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. We, at the ministry, we provide the necessary information, but I leave that to the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service.
No, Minister, you are Minister Williams. Minister Williams.
Drawn in a public debate about that. It is the purview of the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. And I know that right now, the ministry has been undergoing a massive review of salaries across the public sector. And the Minister of Finance has been speaking about it. And over here at the ministry, we listen to what the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service says.
But Minister Williams, with all fairness, Minister Williams.
The Minister of Finance and the Public Service.
Minister Williams, with all fairness.
Sure, go ahead.
You are the chief person of the Ministry of Finance. You are the chief servant for the teachers. And the question that I ask you, Minister, yes, the Ministry of Finance deal with the people that the teachers are salary. But you are the chief servant for the teachers. Why is it that our teachers are leaving education institution? They are being underpaid. Why is it that you as a minister can sit down with the Ministry of Finance and say to them, listen to me, we got to do something. We're wasting money for Grand Gala, 300 million for Grand Gala, 40 million for Ton Secretary General of Commonwealth. Look, and our teachers are leaving, minister.
I don't know. I don't know where you got 300 million from and any of those numbers. I'm here to talk about education.
Yes, but I am saying to you, Minister, as a Minister of Education,
that the success of our students, that success is assured in the education system. We work together as one government with different responsibilities across government. The Ministry of Finance and the Public Service is responsible for budgets. We submit our information to the ministry. We have conversations about our budget. They're responsible for the financing of government service across government. And we're one government. We work together. We know our specialization in all the different areas, and that's how we work together.
Okay, Minister, I hear that you have a call. Somebody, I think that said this morning to ask you a question. Go ahead. Hello, caller. Go ahead. Welcome to Make We Talk.
Yes, good morning, Jeffrey. Good morning, Minister. There's a situation. Yeah, we have here in St. Thomas. There's a teacher named Christine Bailey, excellent basic school teacher. She has molded many minds in the parish, but she's now in a state where she doesn't have any income. She got a degree, but she didn't get the degree salary for the last 8 or 10 years of her tenure at the Saunders Basic School. And she needs medical care, all kind of stuff. Is there something the ministry can do for her? Because she doesn't have no retirement package, nothing. And she
right. You mentioned that this is a basic school. Basic schools are owned by private individuals who make their decisions about teachers to hire. The government has been helping basic schools in terms of ensuring they have a trained practitioner, at least one trained practitioner in the basic school, and the government pays for that teacher. There are other grants that the government gives to basic schools, but basic schools are private businesses. The government schools are called infant schools, infant centers, infant departments, and in those infant schools, infant departments, the government pays the teachers. If it is a basic school, it's a private enterprise, unless
But I'm saying, Minister, she never got that trained teacher salary. That's what I'm trying to say. She never got it because I don't know what the reason was. Her paperwork was submitted over and over. She never received it, and she's really
the best I can do. Maybe off the air, if the producer can take your name and number, give me some information, and we'll investigate to see if she's a teacher that is on the government's payroll. And we would investigate and see what the exact situation is.
All right.
Okay,
but Mr. Producer, I do have to remember we had agreed on.
Yes, I understand, Minister.
And
I know
that I'm way in excess of that. Yeah.
Yes, Minister. Thank you for coming on, Minister Williams. And Mr. Clark, we will get your number and pass on to Minister Williams. Is that okay with the Minister?
Yes, that is okay.
Thank you very much, Minister Favour Williams, Education Minister.
Right, yeah.
For coming on this morning to speak to us. Mr. Rattigan, we don't have enough time here, but I hope Mr. James, can you go over the time with us, sir? Mr. James, unmute your mic for me.
Sure.
Okay. So when we leave Roots FM at 12 o'clock, yes, we are going to go to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel to continue the conversation about the police. We had a scheduled interview with the Minister of Education before the start of Mr. Rattigan coming on. But she didn't come on until now because, Parliament, you have been in Parliament, Anyway, we were speaking to the Minister of Education, Minister Favour Williams, about the reopening of school and our teachers getting salary. She danced around the question about the new teachers and getting the money. But so is life.
Jeff.
Go ahead, sir.
You can't make she get her without make some comments on this, because what again it shows a deficiency in the government to deal with issues affecting the populace. I've said it before and I'll say it again. If they should act in the manner that the Ministry of Tourism is acting, Jamaica would be a much better place. Now, she started talking about the Ministry of Finance is doing a massive review of public sector pay scales and all this nonsense. Look, if you represent the ministry of whatever ministry you represent, it's your job to pressure, and you tried to get her to answer the question, but she didn't, to deal with the Ministry of Finance in terms of providing remuneration for the teachers. She talks about, when you ask her about the furniture, she said 8 out of, she didn't give you a number out of how many schools. They had COVID. Why didn't they fix the furniture during the COVID period when schools were practically closed? It would have been easier then, right? They could have budgeted for them and have it done then. But now they're running into the school year and only 8 schools of God knows how many will receive this furniture. And then she said, school year 2024, we won't be having this discussion. What about this school year? What about next school year?
But
This is nonsense.
You know, Mr. Rattigan, every year they tell the people of this country some bloody nonsense. You hear me? And every administration do the same thing. We sit down in this country and allow this nonsense to continue. But let me say something to you all. And I am happy that you comment on it, you know. One of the reasons why these politicians don't want to come on my program, you know, is because Roots FM is not one of those influence of radio stations in Jamaica. When you call them, you get them. Quick o'clock. Mr. Rattigan and myself have been trying to get the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice to come on this program. We've been trying to get the Commissioner of Police to come on. They don't come on this program. But when a certain radio station in this country call them, they go on to speak. They must remember, it's the people in the inner city who put them there, you know. It's not the people of the avalanche of Beverly Hills and Cherry Garden put them there. So when we call for them to come on, they don't want to come on. For what reason? As if they're afraid of us. It's time for me to come off, Mr. Brown. I don't even know, because honestly, the minister threw me off because what she's talking is bloody nonsense. I have with me the chairman of the Police Federation, Mr. James. You were talking about that the police don't have the salary, rather. One police go home with $70,000 a month. What can $70,000 do in this day and time and age? Everything I go. Bully beef gone up, rice stepping up. Gas gone up. Some of the policemen have all 40 them, no man have to mind them, with the pitney them. What can, 1 minute because we're going off from Roots FM, what can $70,000, what are you doing? Where have the wage negotiation gone? And Mr. Mike can answer the question for me, please, sir.
The compensation review that is currently taking place, we are to meet with the Ministry of Finance technocrats in the coming days, and we are hoping that good sense will prevail, because we believe that we have presented to them a reasonable compensation package that will mitigate against inflation and give the police a reasonable standard of living and give them the opportunity to police the citizens of Jamaica without being distracted with welfare and well-being issues.
Lord of mercy. And you know, Mr. Rattigan, we need to come together, you know, and demand accountability with the money.
And the sad reality about it too, it is while we are seeking to settle compensation and all that for police, my retirees are still out there unpaid by the government and still suffering months after retiring. And it is untenable. It is untenable, the number of police officers who are still out there having bills to pay, having their utility services disconnected because we have an uncaring employer. It is only the JCF that when we retire, it takes almost 18 months, if not more, for persons to receive pension, emoluments, and entitlement. It is embarrassing to say the least.
Mr. James, we're out of time on Roots FM. We want you to come back so we can talk about this on Roots FM. But listeners and viewers who are on both Roots FM YouTube channel, Roots FM Facebook page, go to Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. We're going to continue this conversation on the YouTube channel for about maybe another 15 minutes or an hour. It all depends on the good gentleman. This is where I say so long. We had this morning the Minister of Education, Miss Favour Williams, who came on to speak about back to school. You know, this morning was a very great morning for discussion. we're going to say so long to Roots FM. Until you hear my voice again, I'm Jeffrey Tavares, returning to the studios of Roots 96.1 FM.
My Highland don't salute. My Highland don't salute. Please.
My island don't sell out. Welcome back to the Make We Talk here, special edition on the Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Make We Talk, Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. Share, like, and subscribe to this channel. Share, like, and subscribe to this channel. I'm speaking to the chairman of the Jamaica Federation, the Jamaica Police Federation. We're speaking about salaries. The police don't have no clothes, police uniform for wear.
And no gun.
And no gun. No bullet. Yet the government of Jamaica, both the PNP and PNP power, this nonsense going on. Getting billions of Jamaican dollars, millions of US in the tune of billions of Jamaican dollars to help with the police federation to solve crime in Jamaica. Where's the money going? Speak your mind,
Well,
Mr. Chairman.
Jeff, okay.
Why you have something, Mr. Rattigan? Why, Mr. Rattigan?
Yeah, you know, I've been very calm this morning. It's almost like I'm take some medication. I've been very calm and very considerate in my opinion. But until when the minister come on a while ago and start talk a whole bunch of rubbish, I mean, I almost lost it. I know it's your guest and it wasn't designed, this program wasn't designed, at least today, it wasn't designed for her to take questions from the panel, but I would have loved to ask her a whole bunch of questions because, again, it shows that Jamaica, and like you say, it spans both parties. They're not responsible because they act in a reactive mode. Now, you tell me that you couldn't foresee that people leaving the teaching cadre, you couldn't foresee that you're going to need school furniture. If you don't have that kind of foresight and that vision, then you have no business being in the ministry, because that's one of the things that a minister is supposed to do. A minister is supposed to provide policy, supposed to provide guidance, is supposed to provide foresight, and then the minions are the ones who are supposed to carry those things out to fruition. And when that minister came on and started telling you that, you know, 8 schools got it so far and don't expect anything, you don't expect the project to be completed until school year 2024, and that she's here to talk about her ministry and that they work in unison with the Ministry of Finance, but you know the Ministry of Finance is conducting its own little program to address remunerations for public servants. That's nonsense. The squeaky wheel gets the grease. And you cannot think of a more squeakier wheel than the Ministry of Education. Look how much money them thief over the last 4 to 6 years. Look how much money them thief. That's one of the reasons why the pick of them now go get the kind of education what them need. No, she'll tell you, say, oh, she come on and say, oh, people with maths and this and that and that. But what she not tell you is that they're not qualified for the teachers, because there is a protocol regarding qualification to become a teacher, right? They make the teacher them run with, and now people who traditionally would not be accepted as teachers are them people and all them will make teach. So you can just imagine what happening in the school here. Jamaica, I go get dunsa and dunsa, right? The idea that children are our future, that went out the window a long time ago when them start thief the money. So, I mean, I'm glad you never allow me to ask her some questions, because me have some questions to ask her. Yeah, where should I run her? She wouldn't stay as long as she would with you, you know? And look, I give her credit for coming on, but her explanation was very, very inadequate. It doesn't instill confidence in the people of Jamaica to think that, well, we have a minister of education who's doing her level best, and our children are going to be properly schooled, and the teachers are going to be taken care of, and the facilities are this and blah, 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 blah. She should be out in the public domain screaming screaming for the Minister of Finance and said, look, we're a critical mass, Mr. Minister of Finance, right? We need you to do, she should be doing what Mr. James is doing. You know, see my talk out, she's supposed to be doing that, and I say, and he's not a minister. He's not a minister. And yesterday, my talk out fee membership, you know, you should talk about nothing, because again, they're very, very reactive. They're not proactive. What the guy name when it was Minister of Agriculture, where we go party during COVID and them get rid of him. When him?
Green?
Floyd Green.
Floyd Green. No, listen. Them some people in a certain quarters want to classify me. In fact, one person said them call me dirty PNP. And I explained to them, say, listen, when we left Jamaica, we couldn't even vote. And when me applied for the police commissioner position, me applied under both parties and both of them rejected me. And when me did a talk about crime, the first person I got talk to was Andrew Holness, right? And me live in a compound and play football for Tower Island 16 team, and that is a JLP constituency. And we used to live at one point, we used to live in a Waterhouse, which is a PNP constituency. What me I say is that when people are doing well, when people show foresight, when people show they show that they understand the issue and they take it on head on in a manner where they prepare for it. They don't wait for it to happen and do it. Floyd Green is one of them. I'm hearing very good things about this man. That when he was Minister of Agriculture, he's probably one of the best ministers of agriculture, right? Unfortunately, he got caught up in a situation where, you know, people make bad judgment. Everybody make bad judgment, right? And now they put him on they put him on the backbench. But this is a guy, I would love to see that guy take over a ministry, particularly the Ministry of National Security. Well, make it no longer the Minister of National Insecurity, but make it the Minister of National Security. Put Floyd Green over in a education, because the man, him shows him have the talent, him shows him have the guts, him shows him have the wherewithal to make things happen, not things for happen and then him try to fix them, right? So, having said that, I'm glad you never give me the chance. I'm glad you warned me and tell me, said, no, you know, this is not your portion, no answer or nothing.
You know, I think she did not want to come on for the whole hour, you know. She only said I must give her 15 minutes. And these politicians don't know time, you know. They come on when them feel like coming on. But anyway, we're going to go back to the Police Federation, because I want to know something. Why is it, Mr. Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, unmute your mic for me. Sometimes I get enough feedback from you, but unmute your mic for me. Why is it that of all the money that is being pumped into the JCF, into the Ministry of National Security, from overseas donors and overseas countries and so forth, have you all ever asked the question to the minister, where is that money going?
While it is that it would be out of place for us, pertinent questions has been asked as to why it is that over the years the Jamaica Constabulary Force has been starved of the resources, and the JDF, that is the primary defense force and not the primary security force, has been given all the resources that it so desires. And we are left with little or no resources to police the citizens as the first responder that the citizens rely on. Because for me, it is important to note that if it is that we get the resources, I don't believe that we would need to rely on any knee-jerk reaction to protect the citizens of this country. The police will now have the capacity and the capabilities to offer service to the public that they desire.
Anyone who wants to call in, you can call 876-782-8235, WhatsApp call only. If you have a question for the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, you can call 876-782-8235. That's WhatsApp call only. We also have former FBI agent Wilfred Rattigan. You have questions to ask pertaining to the Donaldson's case, or any other questions pertaining to what is going on in Jamaica? The Jamaica Police Federation is seeking a wage increase from Wapi Philip. The government of the day getting the tune of billions of dollars. Mr. Rattigan, do you know how much money the Ministry of National Security and Justice get from the American government, sir?
Yeah,
I know Mr. Nelson gave us a figure, but I can't remember.
Yeah, he gave us a figure of, I think it's approximately $60 million. I can't verify it, but he said that it's to the tune of $60 million US.
So $60 million US, Mr. Rattigan. You're younger than me, how old? Is how much billion Jamaican that? That's it's about 3 point something or 2 point something billion Jamaican dollars at the exchange rate of 150 to 1. We're using that figure. And you're saying to me at this present moment, Mr. Rattigan, if you were the Minister of National Security, Mr. Rattigan, and the American government is giving that amount of money to Jamaica, to the JCF, how would you structure the JCF, Mr. Rattigan?
Well, look, that's an important question. Look, you have what? The JCF is comprised of approximately 12,000 people, and they're responsible for policing less than 4 million. Right? I think it's might be what's the population in Jamaica? It's 2.8, 2.9, something like that.
They say 3 point something, but more than that.
All right, let's say 3 million, right? And then you have a lot of dead weight in the JCF. You have a lot of legacy police officers that they shouldn't be there. They should step aside and make the real police officers who want to do the work, let them take over. The structure needs to be reorganized. It needs to be reorganized. But before I go further with that, Mr. James, somebody just sent me a question and they said, you need to ask Mr. James, why is it that he hasn't called for the commissioner to resign? Because it's
well, no, man, and we're coming to that.
Oh, all right, sorry.
We're coming to that.
Sorry, sir. Sorry. Well, yeah, going back to the structure of the JCF, I've said it before and I'll say it again. They have too many ACPs, DCPs, DCP, that the P. You don't need all of them. You don't need all of them people. What the police commissioner needs to do, right, is an experienced police commissioner, not the one that we have now, because he's shown that as far as policing is concerned, him should have really put on him down scap and go stand up in a back room, because he doesn't understand law enforcement. He's a military guy. He doesn't understand law enforcement. And he's also a grandfather. He needs to, as you would say, pack his bags and go home to his family. Because him no, the morale, and I mean, Mr. James, if he's able to speak freely, he will tell you that the morale is terrible in the JCF. It's terrible. So a responsible police commissioner would say, look, I don't need all of these advisors up here. I don't need them. They need to go out into the field. Let people see them, because one of the things about leadership is presence. People need to see you. So you need to go out. Instead of them collect all of that big money there, make them work for it. Send them out, right? Put them in charge of, split the country into 3. Put them in charge, and every morning at 8 o'clock, that police commissioner is supposed to sit down there and have a teleconference with them and said, okay, the man who's in charge of Cornwall, tell me what happened in the last 24 hours and tell me what you plan to do in the next 24 hours. And anytime I can tell you something that you don't know what's going on in your county, then I have to remove you, and you will have to go take care of the horses, or you have to go at the vehicle maintenance program, or something else. But you're not qualified to do the job that I need you to get done there. Drastic times call for drastic measures, and they need a complete reorganization. That 1870s construct that they're working with, it's not working. They need to sit down with the federation. Need to sit down with these men and women and say, listen, let's forget about the guys up and the girls up, what them call them, high command. Forget about them. Them have low command. Them have low energy. Them have no ideas. Them need to sit down with the people who are on the street, people like Mr. James. Them need to sit down with them people and say, okay, how can we structure this organization so that we can be both effective and efficient? in terms of serving the Jamaican people. I'm telling you, if you sit down with Mr. James and his members, they have the answers. They have the answers. I thought I had the answers, but after sitting down with a lot of them nationwide, all across the country, I realized that these folks, they have the answers, but they're hamstrung. They can't say certain things for fear of retaliation. They can't do this, they can't do that. But if they were given the freedom to express themselves, and if the leaders would only listen to them, then there'd be no need for Wilfred Rattigan. There'd be no need for Herb Nelson. There'd be no need for any of us, because these people, they have the answers. The answers are within the JCF. But what happened? Them stifle them. How can you have a constable making $75,000 and remain a constable for 10 years or 15 years? How is that possible? How you expect? And then also, here's another thing. They factor in inflation in the salary for the police commissioner. So that's why he's getting $18 million. He's getting 14 in salary and 4 in additional costs like housing, cars, uniforms, phones, and so on and so forth. How come them don't do that for the rank and file at the JCF? How come that constable them don't give him that inflationary that cost to cover inflation? I mean that amount of money in salary for coming in. How come them don't do that? So that's why when some of these police are turned to corruption, that's a reason. We don't condone it, we don't agree with it, and they should be arrested. But if you talk about reasons as to why some of these policemen and policewomen do
because they're underpaid, Mr. Rattigan.
I agree. And you can ask Mr. James, he's right there. You can ask him.
And that is why that's a question I want to ask Mr. James, and you have to unmute your mic. I know sometimes when the mic is unmuted, I can hear some muffled, but unmute your mic for me. And Mr. James, would you say with all fairness, sir, that your federation members are underpaid, sir?
Fully underpaid, and
I'm hearing you. Talk a little louder.
Fully underpaid, and I believe that the time has come for the government to act responsibly enough so that the people of Jamaica can get the sort of security services desirous. It cannot be that you continue to deprive the police of the necessity of life to be able to provide for themselves and family, and at the same time to provide housing accommodation. One of the sticking points in the compensation review is that the government is seeking to roll in housing allowance, which is a reimbursable item and obligation of the government, and the minister has not indicated to us what implications it will have for the current legislation, which is entrenched in law, because I would certainly not be signing away what is an entitlement in law as it is by the stroke of a pen, to give the government leverage to abuse the members far more than they are abusing. I want the public to understand that you have an INDICOM, which has an INDICOM Act. They have a salary scale independent of the public service. You have a MOCA, and the Parliament has recently met, and when they meet, they put in place a regulation and salary and remuneration packages legislated through Parliament. Now, the question that is to be asked and answered, why is it that there is so much foot dragging, and why is that there is so much hypocrisy surrounding the treatment of the Jamaica Constabulary Force when you have a Constabulary Force Act, a regulation that governs the Constabulary Force Act, and a police book of rules, and an organization as the Constabulary Force, which has so many oversight autonomy bodies, and yet still that body is entrusted to police the citizenry of Jamaica, but there is not a holistic approach being taken to ensure that they are properly remunerated and resourced to serve the populace. Is it that we have become such a violent nation that even our leaders have seen it fit to ignore the very well-being of the citizens of this country? Because I'm sure that it costs more to bury a dead than to keep them alive. So the question is are we normalizing killing? And are we satisfied that we are ranked as being one of the second most murderous country in this hemisphere? Are we satisfied that our forefathers' vision was to take our country to this path without us having the gall and the balls to stand up and to stand out and say enough is enough? If there's one thing that I can commit to the people of Jamaica and to the membership of the Constabulary Force, is that we are going to get this compensation review right the first time. We are not going to miss. I believe national security is far too important to the economic pillars for equality, equity to be demonstrated. And it is that we hold too much of a great responsibility to this country and to the people that we should allow those who were elected to lead to fail us. It will not happen under my watch.
Chairman of the Jamaica Federation, speaking out. Go ahead.
Jamaica Police Federation.
Oh, sorry, the Jamaica Police Federation. You know, it is sad. It is very, very sad to know that our police officers are working under such condition. Salary not up to par with other counterparts within the region or within, let's say, the Americas then. You know, Mr. Rattigan, do you believe that the JCF members should be paying US dollars? Huh? Unmute your mic, Mr. Rattigan.
Yeah. No, they can be paid in Jamaican dollars because Jamaica is a national currency. So
right, I know, but I mean,
no, if you're talking about paying with them relative to the salaries that an American police would get, well, that would depend on the budget, how much money they have to spend. But at the end of the day, they should be paid a lot more than they're earning right now. Some of the people up at the, what them call them, up at high command, some of those high command people are collect the big fat salary and sit down upon them duffs not doing nothing. They need to get rid of them people. And have the money start trickling down. The idea is this. Look, there's certain public sector organizations, government sector organizations that you have to take care of, right? You have to take care of your nurses, your teachers, your policemen, your firemen. You have to take care of those people before you even start thinking about taking care of anybody else. You have to. No, I have been told, and here is something that's interesting. I have been told that I wasn't there, so full disclosure, I wasn't there, but I was told that the Minister of Finance, Nigel Clark, he was at a meeting where they were discussing some union issues and remuneration and so on and so forth. And he made a statement that he was elected to rule, not lead, to rule. Now, the person who told me this is a very reliable and trusted source. I haven't heard from Mr. Clark as to whether he said it or not. But assuming that it was said, if it wasn't said, fine. But if it was said, we're seeing evidence of that, the way certain members of, not all members of the government, but certain members of the government, the way they conduct themselves. They conduct themselves as if they're a monarchy. They conduct themselves as if they're totalitarians. And so they don't care about people. And that's why I will make an announcement on your program. Jamaica, on the listen up. Son of the soil, Wilfred Rattigan, will be making a huge announcement on Make We Talk with Mr. Jeffrey Tavares pretty soon, because change is coming in October. October of this year, change is coming, and you will see it. You will see it. You will see that there are people out there who are going to stand up and fight for the poor people. We're going to fight for the people who cannot put 3 square meals a day on the table for feed them family. We're going to fight for the people who cannot get proper medical services. We'll fight for the people who cannot get jobs. We're going to fight for the people who for picnic can't go to good school, or them not get the proper teaching at school, or the proper facilities. We're going to fight for people who don't have the infrastructure, running water, electricity, and so on and so forth. We're going to fight for all of them people. And those people comprise approximately 60% of the Jamaican population. Because for far too long, we've been talking to the top 20% or so, right? We've been talking to them, asking them to make change. Now, when was the last time you asked somebody who felt like a ruler or a totalitarian? When was the last time you asked somebody like that to make a change? And out of the goodness of their heart and your logic, they make change. They don't. Power intoxicates. And that is what's going on here. So we're not talking to those 15% or 20% people. We're not talking to them. We're talking to the masses. And what we're asking for is for the masses to organize. We're trying to energize the masses, because only then will the politicians understand where the true power is. When you sell your vote to a politician for 5,000 Jamaican dollars, and you get a plate of curry goat and a t-shirt, right? Guess what you just done though? And give you $66 US. That's equivalent, about that. And you just give him a salary now of approximately 2,400, 2,500 a month. At the end of the year, based on the calculation, him come out to 16 million plus. You still have him give you 5,000. Your 5,000 done in a week, you know. Him get the 16 million. Tell me where's the parity in that? And then him treat you like say him are the ruler, and you have nothing. And him come around at the election cycle, like every 4 years, and come around and then tell us, say, hey, vote for you, and then bring you some food, give you a t-shirt, give you $5,000. And we vote. The mindset have to change. People have to say, no, my life, my family's life, our future worth more than 5,000.
Indeed.
We hold the angle, and the politicians them hold the blade. When we pull it at them get cut. So them have to make that be known to the politicians. But if we continue with the crab in a barrel mentality and we take the 5,000, then what I'm going to preach to people is that whatever you get, you have to take. You shouldn't complain, because you did your deal, you bargain with the devil, metaphorically, and that is what you get. You bargain with somebody who don't have your best interest at heart, and this is what you get.
True. You know, Mr. Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, is it that there's nobody qualified within the Jamaica Constable Force to become Commissioner of Police? Why every time these politicians look outside the box to put in some person who is from the JCF, politically appointed because of their friend and family, you as the chairman of the federation, sir, you come up in the rank and file of them. You're telling me, I want you to answer this question, because I don't know if you can answer, but see what you can do for me. Is it that nobody within the JCF can become Commissioner of Police? Unmute your mic for me, sir. Unmute your mic for me.
Unity is strength, and where there's a house that is divided, that it cannot stand.
And that's the answer you're giving me then.
You want my answer?
Go ahead.
My answer is that you have qualified people within the JCF. You have people like Clifford Blake, and you have people like Fitz Bailey. Those men have demonstrated an ability to run the JCF. They come up within the ranks. They understand the membership. And I believe that they would be willing to sit down and talk to Mr. James and his organization so that the JCF in totality can move forward to effectively serve the people of Jamaica. There are people within the JCF. They are not only criminals in the JCF. And let me just say, me just say that I believe that of the 12,000 people in the JCF, I am willing to go out there on a limb and say very few of them are actual criminals. But you know, bad news get promoted. And so what happened is that you hear about the bad, you know, the man who have bribe and take money and things like that. But the majority of them who are doing good work, you don't hear anything about them, right? They just quietly do their job and them go home, because those are true patriots. But you do have people inside there, and there's no reason why a military man should come in and take over the JCF. Let me ask you a question. Do you think they would take a JCF man and put him in charge of the military?
No.
Okay. So why is it then that you take a military? And this is a third experiment. And might I add, the third failed experiment. And this one is a worse failure than the other two, than the first two. Why is it that they can't take a JCF man and put him in charge of the military? Why? Why is it that they take a JDF man and put him in charge of the police? And they have no understanding of what's going on there. None. Look, I'm not saying that the JCF cannot do with assistance, whether it's local or foreign. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is that you have qualified people there that can step in and play a role in that organization. And the government should do that. But keep in mind now, keep in mind that this gentleman, and I call him gentleman because I respect his position. I don't necessarily respect him, but I respect his position. He was the JCF chief of staff, and he was plucked from that position to become the first and the only national security advisor to the prime minister. Nobody has since taken up that position since he left. So I want to know, when he was there, did he solve all the national security issues? We know that he did not. And then now they move him now to put him in charge of the JCF. What kind of nonsense is that? This man is a grandfather. He should go home and play a grandfatherly role. Leave the role to younger people with spirit, with energy, and with foresight. People like Blake and Bailey.
According to the late Edward Siaga, with ving, vision, and vitality. You see? You know something, Mr. Rattigan and Mr. James? For far too long, this country of ours allow politicians to dictate to us in this country. And every 5 years they come and tell us some bloody nonsense about left your door and windows open. Every 5 years. And the People's National Party, them is another one. They have no solution to the crime pandemic in this country. All they do is go on public platform and talk pure bloody nonsense. They criticize every almighty God thing, and then they come with a solution. Now the question to be asked: how long shall the JCF suffer under the hands of politicians, where the JCF members are not being paid properly? The JCF members don't have the proper vehicles. They don't have any uniform. They don't have any gun. They don't have any ballistic vests. They don't live nowhere. Has the Prime Minister, Mr. Chairman, approached you and said to you, give me a list of police officers who don't live nowhere, I can build house, give them? Has he done that? Oh, so that for sure you say he's doing this for a political gain. Go ahead, sir.
It is clear that over the years, the political or the elected representatives of this country has failed the people. There continues to be lip service. Too much lip service, I would say, to the issues. Because if you are serious about crime, criminality, and corruption, the institutions that are so entrusted, you would see what, and if we seek to mirror what happens in the United States, it doesn't matter whether you are a politician or otherwise. law enforcement in that country is respected. And you will never see any elected representative from both sides of the divide seek to belittle law enforcement practitioners and berate them in the execution of their duty, much more to obstruct them. So I say that to say this. Until those who are putting up themselves to be elected to lead and to represent the people can have a deep appreciation of civic pride, then this country will continue to live in doom and gloom. Because we must know as a people determine what sort of future we really want in this country and whether or not we have the sort of persons at the helm in all spheres of life to enable us to get to where we envisage. The roadmap has been charted when we got our motto, our anthem, and our pledge. It is now for us to determine whether or not we have the people to lead us in that direction. And it is incumbent on the people when they make choices in life to live with the consequences. But one thing I would urge is that the people must do introspection and retrospection, understand their powers and what it is that they have at their as their weaponry to hold people accountable, because accountability matters. Accountability should be first and foremost on the lips of every citizen. And accountability starts with you, starts with others. So it is important to educate and to empower persons that vision is not for the sleepers. It is for the man who is awoken to the reality, to maximize and to capitalize on it. So the citizens must now determine whether or not the 63 elected representatives are working for them, and to determine what next, if anything.
Let me ask Jeffrey. Let me ask Brother James a question here. A recent poll indicated that 93% of the people polled, and that's a reflection of Jamaica, expressed little to no confidence in the police commissioner and his boss, the Minister of National Security. If a poll, and that's the wider Jamaica, let's narrow it. If a poll should be taken of the JCF, of those two men, where do you think the number would fall? What number do you think would come up? If you don't want to answer, I understand.
I wouldn't want to speculate, but it is for the pollster to do what they have to do. I wouldn't want to speculate.
Good. I have another question. And this one, I'm not going to let this story die. A small plane, passenger plane, crashed off the coast, violated Jamaican airspace, crashed off the coast of Jamaica. I think it's somewhere down at Clarendon.
Rocky Point,
somewhere down there. And people were on that aircraft, and based on the fact that the seats in that aircraft were absent, it appears as if cargo was on that aircraft. Now we know that the aircraft have a black box, right? So when them crash, you can go back and listen to it and listen to the transmission and look at the speed, wind, altitude, all of those things. Now this plane crashed, and nobody know anything about the cargo, nobody knew anything about the passengers, except that about 2 weeks later, the current Minister of National Security made a statement saying that the people aboard that aircraft, they left the country. Now, as an investigator, do you find that troubling?
While it is concerning, I'll resile with concern.
Okay, it's concerning, right? And it's concerning, and you don't have to explain, but it's concerning for many reasons, for national security, for this, for that, for that. How can you have people violating your space and nobody knows about it, including civil aviation? And then they landed, and somebody must have picked them up. They must have gone to a safe house, and they must have been transported off the island, and nobody knows. Now, that is in line with the fact that we have more than 110 illegal points of entry. So the borders are porous, right? Not to mention, you have your conspiracies, people helping you to do certain things. Now, let me switch and ask another question if you find this concerning as well. There's a group, I believe, of Romanians who came to Jamaica, and they were involved in. That
is why, Wilfred, I will continue to shout at the top of my voice that our Marine police officers continues to operate in squalor and continue to give human service to this country. And it begs the question whether or not we are serious about national security. Because some of the environments that the officers are working is less than conducive and habitable. And I'm sure that the Ministry of Health will act in due course. And as soon as they act, I'm prepared to act on the recommendations. But it presents a lot of questions, and that is why I continue to appeal to the powers that be for that unification of the minds and the political directorates and divide to unite for a common cause for once in the interest of national security, nation building, to provide a holistic approach to national security and to ensure that the well-being and the welfare of those who seek to be law enforcement practitioners, that they can discharge the function in a manner befitting, and that they are given the support through housing and remuneration and proper health coverage. That's the basic necessities that I'm asking for. And that the people.
Well, on the Jeff. Let me just do a follow-up here. Brother James, the police, the JCF, they're having a difficult time investigating crimes being committed now. For example, our crimes previously committed. For example, the Romanians, I was saying, there's a group of Romanians that came in and they're involved in cyber crimes, and I think 1 or 2 of them were arrested. A group of Chinese men, they were arrested in Cherry Gardens with all kinds of skimming devices, cyber instruments of cyber, indicating that they were up to no good. Then you have some gangsters who were, well, I won't say gangsters. You have some people of questionable character who were killed in Jamaica, like Wani British and Father Fall, and we don't hear nothing about those investigations, right? Yet, I believe the minister made a recent announcement, or the commissioner, police commissioner, one of them made an announcement that they're going to look at cold cases. No, if you, and I don't mean to be funny, but if you can't investigate hot cases.
Hold on for Mr. Rattigan. Mr. Rattigan, remember what I'm going to say. Mr. James, do you have something as an audio going on? Because I'm getting a squeaky sound coming from you.
Maybe the instrument that I'm using, it's not a safe device.
Oh, Lord.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We know. Let them continue to listen. They've been listening to me for decades, so it's no problem. But listen, so if they cannot investigate hot, recent cases, right? How are they going to investigate cold cases? And to the best of your knowledge, do you have any information you can share with us regarding the development of this group that will look at cold cases?
That information has not been shared with us as a representative body, and I await with bated breath any information that would enlighten our darkness. We believe that it is critical that every crime be investigated, but we also believe that which is paramount, that we should be given the resources. Apprehension should be our major commitment. Everyone who commits a crime must be fearful that if you commit the crime, you are going to be apprehended and you will be forced to do the time. So in hindsight, I believe that where we are now, I await with bated breath the information, since you may be in an informed position than I am. Because we believe that every single crime committed must be and ought to be investigated thoroughly and the perpetrators brought to justice.
Mr. James, do you believe that the JCF, if they get the tool, they can put a damper on the crime situation in Jamaica?
Most certainly. If and I say this without even having any other empiricals with me, but to say the least, that from where I sit and what I've observed and the successes that are being reaped, even though I believe that it is not being communicated effectively, if we get the resources, we will be a force to reckon with. We have demonstrated that in 2010, when those persons who believed that they could take on the state asked us to respond, and we respond admirably. If we are given that resources and support necessary, because even now, as we speak, I continue to grapple with legal fees for my officers who, in the lawful execution of their duties, are placed before the court. And while it is that they are before the court, criminal elements who are charged and who have been arrested and apprehended by these very same officers are before the courts, and their legal fees are paid, and my officers continue to languish, continue to get
hold on, Mr. James. Hold on, Mr. James. Is it that the members of the JCF who has case before the court, is it that they don't get legal aid, or they don't get legal assistance from the government?
While it is that we made some representation and we got a cabinet decision, we continue to languish because these monies are not being paid in a timely manner to council, and council has frustrated the preparation process, and it is impacting the morale of the men and women, and it is taking away from their will and ability to effectively police the people of Jamaica. And I say this without any fear of contradiction, that more needs to be done. There needs to be a more proactive approach in how the Ministry of National Security handles the issue of paying attorneys for police officers who are charged in the lawful execution of their duties. I'm not asking the state to pay for police officers who are on a frolic of their own. I'm speaking of who are accused of committing acts that is not consistent with the office that they hold. I'm speaking about officers who have gone out there to stand in defense of the law-abiding citizens against lawlessness, and who have been accused and requires justice to be served and for them to be able to prepare themselves to face the tribunal appropriately. And that is not being done. So this is one area of major concern. And I believe that at this time, it needs to be sorted out. And where it is that there is no result, I believe that the time there will be a time when we will have to stand up, stand out, and take a position on it.
My God.
We continue to be faced with a number of issues, you know, because I take, for instance, even internally, where there are a number of issues that we will have to contend with. We have placed a number of matters before the court to include pension matters, and we are going to have to use the medium available to us to get justice. But there comes a time when I will have to face the public and to tell Jamaica the truth and what the reality is. If we are going to nip certain things in the bud and ask and allow.
You know, we have lost the chairman of the Jamaica.
To prevail.
Repeat what you're saying, sir, because we had lost you a while ago.
I'm saying, in order for us to ensure that justice prevail, we are going to have to confront the public and to tell the public what the issues are for the public.
It seems like they don't want you to talk at all, Mr. Rattigan.
In getting. Yes, I'm saying that we will have to put the issues out in the public domain for the public to aid us in getting justice. Because if we are going to truly serve the people of Jamaica, unimpeded, unfettered, we have to get the resources necessary to treat with the issues that lies ahead. And we are going to take this. This is one radical leader that is going to. It's a no hold bars. It is for the first time we will have to get it right the first time.
It can't be Mr. Rattigan. But the American government, the Canadian government, the English government keep on giving Jamaicans money to fight crime in this country. And the members of the JCF are having problems in salary, in pension, in where they live, in how they carry themselves.
And you know the truth be told, you have never seen a police officer compare a member of the Jamaica Defense Force. You have never seen the JDF officer void of uniform or outlook comparing with the members of the Constabulary Force. And I continue to ask the question, why it is that successive administration continues to
you know, it seems as if they don't want this good gentleman to talk, you know. But you were saying something lost it there a while ago.
I'm saying successive administration have continued to deprive the security force, more so the Jamaica Constabulary Force, from fulfilling its mission and obligations to the people of Jamaica. I've said it openly. Our employer continues to tie the hands of the men and women of the Constabulary Force from protecting the citizenry effectively. While you might have some cultures within the Constabulary Force, I believe that we have done a marvelous job in holding them accountable and trying to weed them out wherever possible. It has come to light. And therefore, it tells me that you have more good than bad. And we are from civil society, and we were not given angels to police Jamaica or to join the Constabulary Force. So the issue of trust is a misnomer. And that persons who are willing to stand up and stand out must now look beyond mere pointing fingers and move in the direction that we must now seek to protect this country and be our brother's keeper and move away from crime, criminality, and corruption and covering up.
My
You know, Jeffrey.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I have called for the resignation a while back, the resignation of the Minister of National Security and the police commissioner because of their incompetence, right? And their failure to act within the mandates of their office to effectively protect, serve, and reassure the Jamaican people. And 93% of the people polled agree with me. 93% of them polled the other day agree with me, right? So I have no hesitation in saying that they should go, and they should. And I'm very concerned that they're still there, even after this poll, because the Prime Minister came out a while back, and he expressed full and total confidence in one or both of those two gentlemen. Now, this time around, we haven't heard anything from him, and they're still in office. So we need to hear from the Prime Minister as to what steps will he take to address the concerns of the Jamaican people, not the concern of Wilfred Rattigan, but the concern of the people of Jamaica, where nine adults and 93 adults and a picnic decide that them not serving properly. 93 point, the point 3 me give to a little baby or a youth, right? Them decide say them people are not, little or no confidence in them. So I'm going to put my brethren, Brother James, here on the spot. Is the Police Federation in a position to express a no confidence position in its leadership, considering that the people of Jamaica have spoken, and you are part of that? You're part of Jamaica, but you're also an organization that comes within the purview of those two gentlemen. Is the Federation willing to take a stand to say, you know what, we agree with the 93% of the people and that these two men should go? Or are you restrained from saying that?
The fact of the matter is we are restrained from saying certain things. But let me say this.
Just wink, man, just wink. Wink.
The fact of the matter is that you have a police service commission and you have a prime minister. And if the people speaks, then the people, it is, if we are saying proper respect for the rights of all, then I believe that it is their purview to treat with that. I would not immerse the Police Federation into that decision making. I'll allow the decision making body and the authority of the person to treat with it.
Well, then let me ask you, how does it affect your morale, knowing that people that your members, by and large, they agree with the 93% of the people that say that they have little or no confidence in these two people, and yet you continue to serve under them? How does that affect your morale?
While it is that I have not done a poll internally, it is concerning, to say the least, what has been depicted in the polls.
It is a shame. We are celebrating 60 years of independence. And successful government, under successful government, cannot secure the citizens of this country. Every 5 years they come with some cock and bull story. How they can put crime this and put crime that. And when a government can't secure its citizens, something is fundamentally wrong. When a government fails to secure the citizens of their country, something is fundamentally wrong with the governing of that government, of that party, of that organization. It can't be that successful government rather give the Jamaica Defense Force more capability than the JCF. Are they planning to militarize Jamaica? Huh? Are they planning to have a military government one of these days? The JCF, and every day we cuss the JCF, but now I'm seeing what is going on within the JCF. The Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, the Commissioner of Police, Prime Minister Holness, the people of this country have spoken. It's time for Major General Anthony Anderson, Dr. Harris Chang, who is the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, to go. Are you going to have a local government election and tell the people the story again for them to vote me? Are we going to have a local government election where the People's National Party does some cock and bull story again? No better barrel, no better hair in Jamaica. The People's National Party have no solution to Jamaica's crime problem. And that is why I'm going to say this on this program now. Wilfred Rattigan, former FBI agent, Herb Nelson Jr., chairman of the Crime Prevention Unit, or the Crime Ward of the Caribbean, along with Dr. Rupert Francis, we are going to come together with some Jamaicans whose former law enforcement and present law enforcement in and around the world and in and around Jamaica for a crime plan, a crime plan to present to the government of Jamaica. I heard on a town hall meeting yesterday, live from Trinidad, a young man said to the Prime Minister, that Prime Minister, I have offered to help in many ways in my country. And the government has taken up his offer. It's same way, Wilfred Samuel Rattigan, a son of Waterhouse, has offered his help to help with the crime situation in Jamaica. And the former Prime Minister, I'll call name, PJ Patterson said, a good somebody, but no, no, yes, sir. You see? The current Prime Minister, Wilfred Rattigan, sit down and spoke to him about the crime situation in Jamaica. What have they done? The question must be asked, my fellow Jamaicans. Does the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party want to fight crime in Jamaica? Do they really want to fight the crime situation in Jamaica? Is it that the two political parties benefit from the crime situation in Jamaica? No, I don't feel for talking now. Is it that the People's National Party and the Jamaica Labour Party is benefiting from the crime pandemic in our country? Why people from the diaspora is offering their service to the government of this country and they refuse it? They're underpaying the JCF and they're getting billions and billions of dollars to fight crime in Jamaica.
Jeff, where you there?
And nobody doing anything about it.
Let me tell you, Jeff.
Go ahead, man.
Let me tell you something. They will not have a man like me looking at their crime issues. And they cannot. Because if they do, a whole heap of them are going to prison. Whole heap of them. And I've said it before. Because look, what I'm telling you on this program, what I've said on other people's program, is just a fraction of what I know. Just a fraction of what I know. And if put in that position, I go and let go the whole thing, and all of them are going to prison. And so they're dreadful of that day coming to pass. They're fearful of me taking the helm of any kind of leadership, and I'm fine with.
I want you to repeat what I said a while ago.
All other criminal them, politician and otherwise, because them said the river, the stream dirty at the head. I don't know what that means, but it's so nice to me. But that's a well start. And we are going to lock up everybody. We are going to show the Jamaican people say, we not just go after the policeman who take a bribe because somebody has speed and them let them go. That is a crime. And that must be punished. And it is punished. But what about the one of them way above the policeman in society and within the JCF who involved in all kinds of nefarious activities, not only nefarious, criminal activities that we know about. How about them? And once you start putting them people in prison, you don't have to worry about the little policeman who collect money from motorists, because I'm going to realize that if them can't do that to this politician and this titan of business and this one and that one, then what do you think they will do to me? They will make an object less, know what I mean, like them. So that's how you get people to kind of rehabilitate the wrongful activities that they're involved in. When you start, that's what Singapore did. That's what Singapore did. Them start with the politicians. And so the people understand that, hey, them people are serious, and if we get caught doing this, then we have to suffer the same fate. No, we need people like, and I've heard good things about Clifford Blake, never met him. I've met Fitzbailey once, but we need them to kind of nudge the commissioner out of office. I don't know how they're going to do it. I can't tell them how to do it, but I don't know if they take my advice on how to do it. But they need to nudge him out of office, just gently move him. And then we need people like Clyde Green or Pernell Charles Jr., somebody to kind of nudge the good doctor to go into retirement. And it looks like he's setting up a retirement plan, because I saw an interview where he's saying he doesn't want to leave in a wheelchair. Well,
hello, hold on a minute. Everyone is sitting on living in a wheelchair. One in there who are 80-something-year-old. Some of them are 70 and still in there. The question must ask, how is it that they're saying that Jamaicans must retire at a certain age, and then pass it of retirement and they're still inside Parliament? Continue.
Them things are part. I mean, they've taken the Jamaican people as stooges. Them come around every 4 years or so, and them appeal to certain instincts in the communities, and people vote for it, not realizing that them have nothing to gain from this. What they need to do is to hold the politicians accountable. I can tell you about one politician right now, Anthony Hilton. I think he's Western St. Andrew, right? He's doing a very good job. He's doing a good job down in Waterhouse and Seaview and all of them places. He's very active, and he's there. He's there. People see him. Him show up for primary school graduation.
Yeah, man, election the near. Continue.
Well, put it this way, whether it's near or far, he's doing it now, right? A lot of the others, they're not doing it. And they take the people's vote for granted. So now what we need to do now, we need people, we need to highlight people like Brother James here, because he's proven himself to be an outstanding member of the JCF and a representative. I like the things that he's saying. He's shown himself to be articulate. He's shown himself to be knowledgeable. He's shown himself to be experienced, and he's shown himself to be courageous, because not a lot of people come out and say the things that he's actually saying. I mean, he's saying it within the confines of restraint. Of course, we understand that, but at least he's here, right? A lot of them won't come out and talk. We've asked for certain people in position to come on the program and discuss these issues, and nothing.
But you look like you afraid for call name. We have invited the Minister of National Insecurity and Injustice, Dr. Harris Chang. We have invited the Commissioner of Police to come on the program and tell the people of this country, what are they doing to fight the crime pandemic in Jamaica? Kananapong.
You know, let me ask you a question. And this question goes out to Brother James as well. You know, we hear talk about a crime plan, right? I have a series of questions to ask you about the crime plan, but let me start with the first one, and these are basically yes or no questions. Or this one, you provide yes or no answers. Have you seen a crime plan to fight the scourge of this thing in Jamaica? Have you seen one? And you're in charge of the federation, so I would suppose that this is something that will be shared with you. Have you seen a crime plan? Yes or no?
Unmute your mic, Mr. James. Unmute your mic. Unmute your mic.
I've not seen one.
You have not seen one.
And has been shared with me.
Okay. Because, so, Mr. Rattigan, hold on a minute. Because there's not a crime plan to fight the crime in Jamaica.
Then how you fight crime?
Listen to me. What they do, they have the Zozo, Nene, Zaza. What they call out the army. I tell you, Mr. Rattigan and Mr. James, you know, there is money in this thing. When they call out the army, somebody in politics getting money. Somebody in politics getting money out of this Zozo, Ziza, Zaza, and Zoom Zoom.
And Zigzag.
And Zigzag. Money is being spent to keep these people with the Zozo thing, you know. And that is why the diaspora need to step in. The diaspora need to call on the American government to investigate how the money is being spent within the Ministry of National Security and Injustice. It cannot continue like this, Mr. Rattigan and Mr. James. The JCF members live in a squalor, while members of the Vumvavon, the Pimpapoo, and the Mimpepi, and Nyamin steak and lobster with their neck fat like for me.
But you know, what I want to know is, if you don't have a plan to fight crime, or if you have a plan and you don't share it with your members, the members who are on the ground, the ones who are going out daily to fight the crime, right? If the high command, if they have a crime plan, how come it's not shared with the members? And if the members don't have a crime plan, how can they effectively fight crime? And also, I am willing to bet that if you ask a police officer, what are the goals and objectives of the JCF? And if you ask them what are the priorities of the JCF, I guarantee you that the overwhelming majority of them cannot give you a good answer because they don't know. These things have not been shared with them. And instead, what we have in 20, I think it was 2020, we have the police commissioner down in a Fort Lauderdale. I regale people with all kinds of stories, and I tell them this and I tell them that. And when I call people in Jamaica and say, you know, I went to the town hall and he was saying this about
the Klansman trial.
Yeah, those trials, and he must have talked about policing in the 21st century and technology and all of that stuff. Them said to me, so, but how come you not share them things with we? How come him not talk to we, him not come and in the public space and talk to we about that? Him up there talk to who know, but on not talk to we, so what role do we play? And yet still them tell you that the citizens have a role to play in crime fighting. Any country will tell you that. But yet still the Jamaican citizens, them not have no rule. Them not have no rule, at least no rule that they are aware of.
But Mr. Rattigan and Mr. James, answer this question for me now. Do you see a 2030 vision for Jamaica? For Jamaica to live and work and according to the GG, because him do, you know, is go around and yam and open this and open that and talk about 2030 vision and have security guard running 24/7. How on earth, Mr. James, in this 21st century Jamaica, do you see a 2030 vision for Jamaica where the members of the JCF can work freely, have the things them coming into them for them to work freely, sir? And they're being paid properly? Do you see a vision? Because I don't see the vision of 2030 people live and work and whatever. I don't see it.
I am not seeing it unless there is a will on the part of those who are so elected to demonstrate that it is attainable. Then unless they change course, I'm not seeing it. Truth be told.
Hello, make us see if I find it. A former prime minister said not changing our course. You see? The former prime minister should not changing our course. So you there talking backwards and not changing our course.
Yes, yeah, I see where the private sector organization of Jamaica has came out recently urging both sides of the political divide to find a consensus. I would have hoped that since my advent in this capacity, that not only the PSOJ, but the churches and civil society from our strata, that they take a page out of the book and take aim for the betterment of this country and the people. Because enough is enough. There comes a time when the buck stops somewhere. And you cannot continue to play that hypocritical role. Like I would have said at my police conference this year, that police officers wear the candy stripe, the black and the red, has no place and space for politics. Because I said to them in no uncertain term, PNP to me means police not promoted, and that JLP means justice leave police. Justice. It is clear to me that we have to find a way. We have to find a way.
But you know, Mr. James,
to say to the people of Jamaica, find the spirit, find the will, find the courage to partner with the police for the betterment of this country.
You know, Mr. James, a lot of people are going to say, Mr. Tavares, you shouldn't say this, you know, but I'm going to say it. No apology either. You know why much of the churches can't come out and say anything to join the police force to fight crime? You don't want to say it, you know.
You need the Bible.
Pardon me?
You need the Bible.
Maybe I need the Bible. Maybe I need the Bible indeed. But I'm going to say it. Majority of these churches is embedded with criminality. All them do is scam the poor church people and live high life, you know. And some of these churches, the Jamaica Umbrella Group of Churches, the Jamaica Council of Churches, a bunch of hypocrites. Because they are embedded with the politicians, so they can't talk against the politicians. When they have prayer breakfast, have you ever seen the rural churches in Kingston prayer breakfast? No. At the Vumva churches in prayer breakfast. And it's that kind of bloody nonsense. And now, oh, Almighty God, we ask you to bless this nation. And I am not, listen to me, I am not mocking my God, you know, because I know my God, you know. I've proven my God, you know. But the fact of the matter is, when you have church leaders who are embedded with politicians, who can't tell what you're looking wrong, do you think we're going to have a better society?
And that is why the people need to change the course. Anybody who you want to elect, you are free to do so. It's a democratic society, but they must be prepared to work on your behalf.
Gentlemen,
let me jump in there. Brad James mentioned something about the PSOJ and that they're asking for both parties on the political divide to come to a consensus regarding crime. Let me just say this for the benefit of those of the listeners who don't remember. Back in 2020, just before the elections, there was something called a consensus on crime, and this was a meeting and a document that emanated from it, where various parties were represented. The PNP, the JLP, civil society, faith-based organizations, community activists, NGOs, a whole bunch of people were there. And they come out with this thing called the consensus on crime, and it had benchmarks. If you don't think I lie, me I tell you, you can go look it up. And they had benchmarks. And the gentleman from PSOJ who was spearheading the project, he had an interview with a friend of mine up in New York. And after the interview, I said to my friend, said, look, all you have to do is 6 months from now, you go back and ask him about the benchmarks. Ask him if he meet none of the benchmarks. You know what recently came out? what recently came out was that they've had 6 meetings so far. They produced nothing, but they've had 6 meetings. And of the 6 meetings, the Minister of National Security, the
Insecurity and injustice, man. What's wrong with you?
the soon to be departing us, Dr. Chang, he has not attended a single meeting, not one. And his excuse for not attending the meeting was that he thought that the purpose of the consensus on crime, and this is according to newspaper reports, that the purpose of the consensus on crime was to quell whatever stress or whatever friction they anticipated before the election. But since the election gone, then there's no need for him to show up at any meetings. So they don't. So if him never show up, if him have no interest in that, so that's why my brother James, when he said the PSOJ, I have no faith in the PSOJ as an organization. I have faith in certain individuals within the PSOJ, but as an organization, it's useless. It's useless because what they should have done, they should use their economic power to force the government. Because remember now, they support the politicians, for elections, right? They support them, and they have a large stake in what goes on in Jamaica because business is business. And when you have criminality and the crime the way it is, it affects business, right? Although our good friend Jeffrey would make an argument that them still make money because some of them involved in the criminality.
Of course.
Well. Right. But they should use their economic power and be the engine, right, to cause the government to move from point A to point B in terms of certain civil aspects, in terms of Jamaica being the best that it could possibly be in light of Vision 2030. But that's not happening. So when you mention PSOJ, I just laugh because what I do is there are certain people in PSOJ that I have a relationship with, and I go to them. I don't go to the organization because the organization is useless.
Gentlemen, we have been at this for 2 hours. I'm going to invite the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation to come back on next week, Tuesday, on the Make We Talk on Roots FM to speak more of what the JCF is going through with the government of the day, whether it be PNP or JLP. I never know that the JCF members don't have any uniform. I never know they don't have any ballistic vests. And no gun. Huh? I never know that. I never know that members of the JCF live in squalor. And the Prime Minister building houses. I'm not saying don't build a house and give a Jamaican citizen. Yes, do it. Jeffrey. But make sure the people who protect the nation is well taken care of.
You never talk about the facilities where them work yet, The condition and them working conditions, We don't talk about that. We don't talk about the fact, say, if them have 200 cars, 100 of them are maybe 150 of them not working. We don't talk about that yet, And then, so you see, what happens is that people tend to blame the JCF, and I'm guilty of it too. At times, I blame the JCF and say, yeah, peer criminal and things like that. But when you speak to somebody, like this gentleman here who's a representative of the organization, then you start to understand that, you know what, it's the fault is not entirely theirs. Yes, you do have criminals within the JCF, and it's been proven because they've arrested criminals within the JCF. But when you look at it holistically, you start seeing that it's more than that. It's the fact that they're not getting the support that they need to get from the government and also from the communities. The brand has been tarnished. The brand has been tarnished, and it's going to take some time, some effort, and a lot of assistance to get that brand to where it's respected.
And I don't think a commissioner of police should be politically appointed by any political party. I think the commissioner of police should be voted on from within the JCF. Because when you have a commissioner of police, is politically appointed by a prime minister, and the prime minister that, he hold on upon him. If the prime minister can't do nothing to the prime minister.
The Police Services Commission is just a rubber stamp organization. The prime minister will tell them who he wants, and they'll just rubber stamp it. Let me ask you this. Can you envision Major General Anthony Anderson, Police Commissioner of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, putting on bangles on the Prime Minister of Jamaica, the man who took him from the being Chief of Staff to National Security Advisor to Police Commissioner, with all the loyalty that now he has to express to him. Can you see him putting on the cuffs on this man? If this man commit a crime, can you see him putting the cuffs on anybody else that the Prime Minister said, I don't want you to touch that person? Can you see him putting the cuffs on them? No, I can tell you right now, Brother James wouldn't have no hesitation about doing it. Because he's a patriot, he's a dedicated law enforcement officer, he's above and beyond reproach. That's how I see him. That's how I respect him for what he's done and what he said. And that's how the rest of Jamaica should see this man. This man deserves to be an advisor to the JCF. This man deserves to be in a position of decision making. They need to run away out of the people them all up there. The only two people them need up there now. The only two people them need up there besides the police commissioner. Them need Bailey and them need Blake. And one of them might be the next police commissioner, but you only need two people up there. This man should be up there because this man have him ears to the ground. This man, I rub off him in shoes heel. I talk to people and I do things and I take care of members them. This man know everything we are going on within the JCF. So he would be a repository of information for the decision makers to say to him, tell us what's going on and how we can solve it. This man where you say sit down right there, so where you talk to. And yet still what? He's largely ignored. It's like a lone voice that cry out in the wind. But Brother James, let me tell you something. Come October 4th, you won't be that. You won't be that because we are going to go to the people. We are going to go to the people. We will stop appeal to the people them up at the High Command and in a parliament. We'll stop appeal to them and forget about them. We're going to go to the people who gave them the power. And, right? And the power, but by the way, the power is not an unlimited power and it's not a power in perpetuity. It's a limited power. And because it's limited, we can't take it back. And we are going to take it back.
And I am saying to Mr. James, the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation, the Make We Talk program, sir, is open to you 24/7. Mr. Rattigan have my number, I can give it to you. Call me anytime you want to on my program. Whether night and day, I'll open up for you. It cannot continue where the Jamaica Police or the Jamaica Constabulary Force do not have the equipment to carry out the duty to secure the citizens of Jamaica, where the Ministry of National Security is getting billions and billions of dollars to do so. Continue speaking out, sir. Continue talking out is the same word. Continue licking out about what is going on. The people of Jamaica need a proper security system. The government of Jamaica don't want that. And I will say it. The need of the Jamaica Labour Party now, the People's National Party, do not want to secure the citizens of Jamaica because the crime pay. Someone in our politics that get money out of the crime situation in Jamaica. You can't come for me when I'm done. Too much nastiness that go on. Too much corruption going on. And I'm calling the American government to investigate the money that is being sent to the Ministry of National Security and Justice in Jamaica. Where's the money going? Why the JCF members that don't have no gun? They don't have no uniform? They live in like Riverton dump. The work environment is a disgrace. And why is it? And when they have cars and the cars are break down, you don't go to a repair shop? Because what? You're not paying the JCF members them properly. So the repair shop corrupt too. Me hear about it.
Jeffrey, let me just add this piece here. I went back and I looked at the concerns of Commissioner Williams. I also went back and I looked at the concerns of Commissioner Coelho. and I've looked at the concerns of Commissioner Anderson. And you know what's striking? They all say the same damn thing. They all talk about guns. They all talk about gangs. They all talk about murder. They all talk about this. But ask yourself the question, have they demonstrated the ability to address these issues by looking at by just the crime rate? If you look at the crime rate per 100,000, the homicide rate, for example, right? They all talk about the same thing, but guess what? They're devoid of ideas. They have no ideas. When you tell me Zozo and SOA and curfews, those are strategies. BS, show me the crime plan. No, I tell you what. If you talk, if you talk to this man, Mr. James, if you talk to him, even offline, talk to him, because he probably won't want to say something.
Yes, I know.
Just talk to him, but just talk to him, right? And you will understand that this man has more ideas than all of the advisors them are uptown, right? This man has more ideas than all of them. And if they would only give him a chance, if they would only just say, listen, for the sake of Jamaica, for the sake of 2030, for the sake of all of the people, and to allay the fears of investors and the diaspora and all interested parties and stakeholders, listen to this man and listen to his ideas, right? And in no hurry come up ideas either. These are ideas born out of a situation where him just feel hopeless. Him watch what happen, and there's not much him can do about it, because his hands are tied.
But Mr. Rattigan, you said that former commissioner of police, the same thing. But they can't do better. They are programmed to say the same thing every time a new commissioner of police comes in.
That's why you need, and that's why I agree with you when you said that it should be a position that's free from political influence, because you need somebody who's independent, right, and objective to be in that position. You cannot have somebody that's beholden to a political party or a politician. You cannot. And that's why they wouldn't want somebody like me. I wouldn't be good for the politicians or political parties in Jamaica, because I would unearth all of the
friend them and then get hit. Then they put on the bangle upon them backside.
No, but you what me name not to do that, because what happens is that me have enough contacts and sources. Me have enough contacts and sources in Jamaica where tell me what go on. So all me have to do, them just said, look here, look there, and that's it. Me just protect them. Protect sources and methods. That's all. And we know the bodies and buried, because people point them out to me. Yes, so me just go ahead and do my thing. Who need enough to refer to no report with me, reports that I've seen anywhere, any newspaper reports or anything like that. People call me and tell me, I say, look, see which part of the body you bury, right? But them say, you can protect us. So we tell you. So we don't have to worry about that. Them would have to go worry about me. But I mean, Jamaica people need to wake up. They need to wake up and understand. And again, I've been awakened by the fact that, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, awakened by the fact that people tend to want to blame the JCF and say it's a JCF, and then to a lesser extent, them say, oh, it's a government. I think it's the other way around. I think it's the government first, then you can go to the JCF. Because if the government is not providing them with the resources and the tools and the accessories necessary to provide provide security service, then you can't blame them. What about well, I know you remember the Prime Minister said, he might go give all our ministers them a letter.
I wish I could find the thing again and play it. I'm gonna find, hold on there. Mr. Rattigan, we have to wrap up. But I am inviting back Mr. James of the Jamaica Police Federation come next week to come on to my Make We Talk program. Mr. James, before you go, sir, what do you want to tell the citizens of Jamaica that the Jamaica Constabulary Force is facing because of the hands of politicians who don't want to give you the tool to work? Tell the people of this country, God will protect you. Tell the people, and mute your mic, Mr. James, and tell the people of this nation the nastiness is going on from the two political parties in this country who can't secure the people of this country, who keep on telling the people of this country since 1962 until now that I will protect you all. And until now, they can't protect us.
The fact of the matter that the people of Jamaica need to understand that for far too long, the Jamaica Constabulary Force is being used as a scapegoat. And it's not about sugarcoating. It means that the political directorate must provide the resources so that we can discharge our function to the people of Jamaica. Simple put. Remunerate the police officers, afford them the amenities, health care and housing, and afford them the opportunity to perform their duties without fear, favor, malice, or ill will. The resources are very much needed at this critical juncture if we are to fulfill a 2030 vision.
Thank you. Mr. James, Chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation. Mr. Rattigan, your final word to your citizens of Jamaica, your fellow citizens.
Yes. First and foremost, people, stand by, because I stand by for an announcement pretty soon, because we're going to take it to the people. We're no longer going to talk to the politicians and the powers that be in Jamaica, because we have come to the understanding that they don't care, and that we're speaking to people who them willfully deaf. Them don't want to hear what we have to say. And there are lots of reasons why I suspect why they're doing it. So what we're doing is we're going to take it to the middle class people. We're going to take it to the sufferers, and have those people understand that they need to have a mindset check. They need to start thinking about themselves and their families, as opposed to just what the politicians can do for them, because politicians won't do much for you. You elect them to do a lot for you, but they won't, because in the main, they're going to do whatever they're going to do to ensure that they're reelected. That's the first commandment of a politician: ensure reelection at all costs. So them not care about you. And what you have to do is you have to make them accountable and make them know that, okay, well, I'll tell you what, if you don't care about us, then we don't care about you. So guess what? We go and vote for somebody else in the next election. I mean, once that mindset starts, and I know what you're saying, Mr. Tavares, when you're saying that no better herring, no better barrel, potter cut kettle black, that it's just swap black dog for monkey. I know what you're saying, but I think that the idea of safe seats and garrison seats and all that, once you can remove that, and a politician knows, say, hey, if me not provide, then I have to leave, because I'm going to get my opposition inside here. I think once I get the idea that, look, your stay here will be dependent upon what you provide, your production, right? What you can do for us. And if you can't do anything for us, then fine, we'll get rid of you and move somebody else. I think that's a change, but we need to get people to start thinking like that. Because if we continue to think the way that we're thinking, Jamaicans, then things won't change. And all I'm saying to you is that if things don't change, don't complain, because you get where you vote for. And until you show that the power is in your hands, the power is in your vote, and you take back that power from the politician, things will be different. If you don't do that, then, you know, but what I'm going to do is, though, I'm going to keep speaking out. I'm going to keep the fire burning, along with people like Jeffrey Tavares and others. We're going to keep, because for too long the government never have any opposition in terms of people calling them out. So they did whatever they wanted to do, and they felt satisfied that no opposition would be able to dethrone them, right? But now what's going to happen is that we're going to speak to the people in their language, and we're gonna just like we're doing now with the Kamina Johnson-Smith fiasco, where the government spent money, taxpayers' money, to do certain things, and then they don't want to. They spend taxpayers' money, and in another instance, they spent money coming from we don't know sources, right? And then they don't file the proper forms to inform the public about what is going on in terms of gifts being given to the Jamaican government. So we don't know if the money is tainted money. We don't know if the money is coming from a controversial source, and we need to know. So when we start keeping the pressure, because we don't want these stories to just come and then die. We want to keep these stories going until we take them to their natural conclusion, where the government admit that it was wrong and suffer the consequences, or they explain and say, oh, you guys had it wrong. Here's what happened, so that we can sit and we can examine. Until that time, nothing is going to happen, but we're going to keep the fire burning.
Thank you, Mr. Rattigan. before I go, I want to let my viewers on YouTube and Facebook, and please like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. I'm asking you all to please like, share, and subscribe to the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. I have 299 subscribers now. I need more. Give me some more, please. And we're going to have a program one Sunday evening where it's going to be live on the Jeffrey Tavares, the Make We Talk Jeffrey Tavares YouTube channel. It's going to be live on both Roots FM. We're going to see if we can get it live on a radio station in the Cayman Islands and also in New York, where we're going to speak about 106 Jamaicans languishing in the prison in Jamaica, who has never been brought before the court in Jamaica, who has never been charged for anything. And they're in there. Some in there are for 50-something years. And nothing has been done. The rights of our Jamaican citizens for far too long have been trampled on by successful governments, and nothing has been done. My fellow Jamaicans, both here in Jamaica and in the diaspora, the time has come for us to hold the mantle and say enough is enough. Here's a gentleman, Mr. James, from the Jamaica Police Federation, who wants to fight crime. And the JCF don't have the tool to fight crime. The JCF don't have the tool at all to fight the crime that they want to fight. Because the two political parties in Jamaica, whether the PNP in power or the JLP in power, they refuse to give them the ammunition to fight the crime. The JCF members are underpaid, yet the Commissioner of Police and other members of his diplomatical corps are being paid millions and millions of dollars a year. But a member of the JCF is only going home with $75,000 after the tick motor hit. And this is a country where they talk about to work and live and raise family. In a corrupt country, in a crime-infected country, we allow politicians to wreck our country. We allow the two political parties in Jamaica to wreck this nation. Enough is enough, Jamaicans. Stop this PNP and JLP stupidness. When a government can't secure their citizens, something wrong somewhere. When a government refuses to give the security forces, the JCF, the proper tool to fight crime, refuse to pay them the rights they're supposed to be paid, something wrong somewhere. And I'm saying to my fellow Jamaicans, the time has come for us to speak out. Yes, members of the JCF go on with the nonsense. Yes, members of the JCF, when they say, "What boy come out of the car and a boy or a girl," I agree. But if they were paid properly, if they wasn't under so much stress, they would treat the people of the country better. The People's National Party don't have a solution to our crime situation in Jamaica. It is on us, the citizens of our country, to come together, sit down, have town hall meetings, have group meetings, citizen associations, and formulate a crime plan for ourselves. The two political parties not doing anything to help us. What are they doing? Not one single thing. More than every 5 years, I come and talk all kind of nonsense to us. They go in the diaspora, they beg money. They get the money, they come back in. Tell the diaspora pay a bloody lie. They come back and they run election. And they win. They don't do nothing. What are we going to do, my Jamaican people? Sit down and accept this stupidness? It can't continue. So come next week. Join Make We Talk with the chairman of the Police Federation. He'll be my special guest. Come next week, Tuesday. From 11 to 12 o'clock Jamaica time, from 12 to 1 o'clock US time. To speak about what is going on within the JCF. The condition that the members of the JCF is working in. The condition that the members of the JCF is the condition that the members of the JCF live in. Enough is enough. I am calling on the American government. I am calling on the Jamaican diaspora overseas. Let us go to the Congress of the United States to call for an investigation in the money that is being sent to the Ministry of National Security in Jamaica to fight crime. Where is that money going? And I say to my fellow Jamaicans this afternoon, as our national pledge, before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body, in service of my fellow citizens. I, Jeffrey Tavares, promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood, and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may under God increase in beauty, fellowship, and prosperity, and play her part in advancing the welfare of the whole human race. Jamaicans, stand up. Don't sell out this country. May God bless you, and may God bless Jamaica land we love. Before I go, we have to play this song, Mr. Rattigan.
My Highland don't salute. My Highland don't salute. Please don't salute.
The island sell out, me not hear nothing.
Hold on a minute, hold on. Sorry, I thought you were hearing me. Hold on.
Remember your doctors, them now.
Are you hearing me now?
I hear you, but look like the island sell out because we're not here burning spear.
Please don't sell out. Farmers, them now.
Still not hearing it?
Let me hear it now.
Remember your workers, them now. My Highland don't salute. My Highland don't salute. Please don't salute. My Highland don't salute. Remember your teachers, them now. Remember your nurses, them now. Remember your doctors, them now. My Highland don't sell out. No, 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 no. My Highland don't sell out. Please don't sell out. Remember your farmers, them now. Remember your workers, them now. Remember your neighbors, them now. My Highland, don't sell out. Please don't sell out.
Thank you all very much. Just to let you know, the Make We Talk program do not own the copyrights to the Burning Spear song, My Island Don't Sell Out. Join us next week, Tuesday. Same time, same place. My special guest will be the chairman of the Jamaica Police Federation. You can see him right there, a no-nonsense individual. Speak out for the rights of the police officers and for his Jamaican citizens. I am Jeffrey Tavares until you hear my voice again. May God bless you and may God bless Jamaica land we love. Thanks to Wilfred Rattigan and Mr. James, the chairman of the Police Federation. God bless you all.
Bless up.